So, can we really, as women, have it all? Can we do it all? Really, is the question. Can we be the wife who gives her marriage everything and has time for date nights and does all these spontaneous things and be everything that our marriage needs us to be to succeed? Can we also be the engaged mom who is at every sporting event, every school event, doing all of these things and being present for our children? Can we also, while doing all of those things, be the boss at work and making the decisions? And can we do it all? That's the question that we're going to be answering today. My name is Marsha Flemings. Welcome to the Lead Her Lab. I'm excited to have you. So my first point of note is this is from my perspective, my experience, but I believe there is something that you can take away from it. Usually when we're having these conversations, you hear the word balance get thrown around a lot. Women talk about work-life balance and just creating balance in their life. Now, I prefer to use the word harmony only because it denotes something different. So I looked up some definitions for you and I'll tell you why I prefer the word harmony. So balance suggests an even distribution, right? And harmony suggests an orderly, pleasing arrangement of parts, simultaneous combination. So when I think about it, I think about having harmony in my life where there's an order and a pleasing arrangement of the different parts of my life. And I also recognize that what harmony looks like in this season of my life, it's definitely different from what it looked like at 21. It's different from what it looked like at 30 before I had my son. It looks very different now, growing a business and having a family. And I've accepted that harmony at different stages of my life will look very different. But ultimately, it is how are the different parts of my life coming together in an orderly and pleasing way, not a way that has me running raggedy, looking stressed out all the time. Been there, done that, not trying to do it again, right? And balance suggests looking at keeping everything, giving everything the same level of attention and having equal parts to our life. Now, if you believe that you are able to create balance when you have multiple parts to your life that are pulling on you, I would love to read your comments in the comment section. But for me, harmony works best. So in 2020, when I transitioned from my 20-year career into full-time into my business, when the world was shut down and my son was home with me, I found that initially I was working on my business in the day and trying to set hours in the day where I was working on my business, but then there were hours that I was, present for my son, and it wasn't working. It absolutely wasn't working. At the time, he was about 3 years old and it wasn't working. It wasn't working for me. I had immense guilt about it. When he would come in and need my attention, it was just the two of us during that period. And because my husband was in a different country, and I had immense guilt about it. And when he would come in while I was trying to work and having to choose whether or not I had to ask him to give me some time to get to him or choose between the work I had to do. And so I had to figure out a different structure. And I decided at that time, I am going to give him the attention that he needs in the days, most of the day. And I structured what that would look like when we would be working on whatever we were working on from a learning perspective, when we would go outside for activities, when we would go do something that's just for fun. And then I would take the time that I would need in the evenings after he's gone to bed and after I've gotten a little bit of rest, and I would work for most of the night. And that was a sacrifice, or that was the approach rather that I took because one, I felt at that time it was necessary, and that was the way that I would be able to get the different things that I needed to get done, accomplished, not have to battle constantly this tug of, am I doing the right thing, by asking him constantly to give me some time, whatever the case may be. So in this season of my life, it looks very different because My priorities may not necessarily have changed, but what I have available to support me is different. My husband is here, my business is in a different phase. So there are just different things happening. And it's me still looking at how do I have all these different components happening in an orderly and pleasing fashion in my life. So I'm going to give you 4 things that I have found are critical for us to be able to create harmony. And if you prefer balance, it will help you with that too. But if you really truly want to do well and excel and enjoy each component of your life, obviously there are some things you're going to have to put into place, right? And so one of those things for me is effective planning and organizing. Let me tell you something. My Google Calendar is slowly becoming my best friend. It is the thing that I live by. So for example, again, we have date night scheduled in, and it gives us reminders early. I have dates with the kids. My husband and I, we have different dates where it's father-son, father-daughter, mother-daughter, mother-son, and we schedule those things out ahead of time, and it helps to keep me organized. I avoid the stress. I avoid the guilt of looking up and realizing, oh, 6 months have gone by and I haven't really spent any intentional one-on-one time. And it gives me an opportunity to plan and make sure that it is engaging. My husband and I, yes, we have time that, it's not necessarily planned, but we also make sure that we plan. So I think that having being organized and having a plan and scheduling the things that you need to have done. The moment something comes home from school that we have to attend, it's in the calendar. I'm not dealing with conflicts. I'm not dealing with double bookings. We can't do with that around here. So planning and organizing, scheduling, those things help to create and maintain harmony and balance, if that's your approach. Right? So you also want to have systems. You want to implement some kind of structure. Now, yes, some of us are free spirit. I don't know if I would classify myself as that, but I know some women are free spirited. They don't like too much rigidity or too much structure. But if you want to truly thrive in these different areas of your life as a mom, as a wife, as a friend, as a sister, as a daughter, then systems are going to be something that become useful. They are tools to help you. So look at the area of your life. In your business, for example, in the work that you do, obviously systems can be helpful, but what systems can you put in place in your home? Are there systems that will help you in terms of your shopping, so that grocery shopping does not have to be this big task? Like, what systems can you implement in the different areas of your life, because it just makes things a bit more streamlined, a bit more focused, and flow much more smoothly, right? So planning and organizing, implementing systems. Third thing, which I think is, if not the most important thing, it is definitely one of the most important things. Ladies, I have seen, and also truthfully and transparently, I've also been the person who's tried to do everything without taking care of herself. Our health has to be optimized. We have to really be in a position where we give our mind, so our mental health and our physical health, we set ourselves up for success, to have the energy, to have the strength, to have the vigor and the vitality to do all the things that we want to do, that we desire to do, to be the present wife and present mom and, the boss lady in charge. So it's going to be a struggle to do that if you're sick all the time, if you're feeling tired all the time, because we're not fueling our body what it needs. We are not working out and taking care of ourselves the way that we should be. So I have found that for me, in my experience, that was one of the things that I had to work on coming out of 2020 and 2021. There was a lot of stress, in particular in 2021, and I did not make my health a priority. And guess what? Suffered dearly for it in 2022. And coming into 2023, recognizing that I had to do things differently. So it's not just about your physical health in terms of exercise and nutrition, but it's also your mental health. How do you manage stress? How do you manage the different issues that you have to deal with, the different challenges that come up in life? How do you create peace in your mind and not hold tension in your body that ultimately affects our health negatively? Those are things that we need to pay attention to if we want to ensure that we're keeping harmony in our life. And finally, I want to challenge you to examine, are you doing it for you? Are you doing it for you? Do you want to do all the things, be all the things just to prove to society that you can be? Or is this truly what you desire? Do you truly desire to have a family? Do you truly desire to build a business? What are you doing this for you? Because this is the life that you have envisioned, and so you are building it and intentionally creating it? Or are you doing this to prove something to somebody, or because this is what was expected of you? Examine if you are doing it for you, if the vision and the life that you are building is the one that you've created, because otherwise you will not experience harmony, because it will not be pleasing, because it's not your desire. All right, so I am done. Again, this is just my perspective from my experience and from my observations. But as always, I'd love to learn from you. I'd love to hear from you and your take on it. And if there's anything else that you would add to this list in terms of how we as women can live more fulfilling, enriching lives while being intentional about how we show up in every aspect of our lives. Thank you so much for joining me in the Lead Her Lab. And now it's time for us to go out and lead.